The following podcast is a W2Mnet.com presentation. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of your podcast needs, as well as review articles from everything from movies, sports, wrestling, and entertainment. What's up, everybody? We are back once again with another live episode of MMA to the Max. This is episode number 37, where we review
37.
Poirier versus Gaethje from last night. Jesus, what a great card. I am your host, as always, Robert Taylor, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Joseph Hudson, a.k.a. Riverside Joe. How you doing this week, Joe?
I'm doing well, man. It's been a good week. Enjoyed a great day / evening of fights last night, man. That card did not disappoint once again. The fight night cards proving why you can't miss them.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's always the fight night cards that are the best cards. We've said that before on the show. The only difference between what we said on the show and what actually happened last night was this was a really hyped event.
Yeah, absolutely was a really hyped event because, well, you look at it on paper, Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje, Dustin versus Justin. On paper was going to be a barn burner.
Yeah.
You just looked at it. Okay, the way these guys go, the striking ability, skill, setup, and combinations that you're going to get from a guy like Dustin Poirier versus the grit, the determination, the always moving forward, the power of Justin Gaethje. On paper, it should have been a phenomenal fight. Did it live up to the hype?
I think it did. And real quick, just to let you know, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm not paying attention. I'm just using the phone to share the video around to make sure people are paying attention to our dumbass selves. But, I mean, at least maybe a few of you will. I don't know. Anyways, let's get right down to business real quick.
Let's do it.
Mr. Hudson, Mr. Riverside Joe.
Yes, sir.
It's a new week. It's a new drink. What are you drinking this week?
I am enjoying some Elysium Brewing Space Dust IPA here.
Ooh.
Right there, you see that, everybody? It's a delicious IPA. It's big. It's not big as in it's only a 8.2, which is fairly large, but it's got a lot of flavor to it. It's an easy beer. It's not a session beer. You want to taste some good hops blended well, go for it, man. It's delicious IPA. How about you?
What if they don't want to taste good hops?
Then don't drink this beer. I don't know, drink Budweiser or something if you don't want to taste your beer.
That's true. For no kidding, right? Funny story about that. At my job, I talked to a Budweiser rep, and she's like, "Oh, have you tried the new Budweiser Orange?" I'm like, "Does it taste like Budweiser?" She's like, "Well, kind of." Like, then no.
No, I haven't, nor do I want to, nor will I.
I have no interest in doing so. My beer of the week is let's see if I can say this right. This is from Tijuana.
Tijuana.
I'm assuming it's Insurgente, the Excovisa Mocha Stout. It's a stout brewed with cocoa, coffee, peppers, vanilla, cinnamon, and nutmeg. For anybody that's seen, if you've ever had this, it's actually really good. Very smooth. It's actually one of the better stouts I've had. So,
how's the nutmeg? Does it tie it in real nicely?
Very, very, very festive.
Festive.
Yeah.
It's a festive, summery kind of stout. It's delicious, and I like it a lot.
It adds a little bit of an eggnog feel to it. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, something I would not mind trying is I'm sure it comes out during Christmas time. Somebody's got to make it, but an eggnog stout that sounds mildly delicious to me.
Yeah, that does sound like it could have some good flavor to it. It's not a bad idea.
It's
not a bad idea.
Literally, the only time I go to Starbucks is during Christmas time for their eggnog lattes and drinks and all that stuff. So, yeah, I guess I got an issue with eggnog. I don't know.
You got a lot of issues, but at least that one is not going to kill you.
One issue I don't have, though, is the shirt that I sport. I believe it's the same shirt you're sporting.
It is. It's a really cool shirt, man. I don't know where you got it from, but I bet a lot of our fans out there are going to want to take a gander at these lovely pieces of male apparel, a male blouse or T-shirt.
All four of you.
All one of them right now. What's up? We got Marcy Franklin in the house. Yes. Hello, Marcy. We will answer that question for you. I know it's a lot off topic. We'll do our normal recap, and that's a good question. We'll get to it for sure.
But yeah, real quick, man. Hey, let's just dive right into it. We got our beer talk out of the way and everything. The main event last night of UFC on Fox. I mean, like we talked about at the top of the show, man. Just a great card from top to bottom. I think the worst fight on the card was Okami versus Lima. Even that was mildly entertaining.
That was still fun because I don't know, man. I was an idiot, dude. I picked Lima, and in hindsight, that was probably the dumbest thing I ever did. I'm like, Lima's really well rounded.
Yeah, but it was Diego, not Doug. It was Diego, not Doug.
Well, I know. But it's like he's a good striker. He's well rounded. He's got pretty decent heavy hands. Okami's a little bit, battle worn. I think he can beat him. And then after the fight started, I go, oh yeah, Lima's kryptonite is wrestling. Okami's what? A wrestler.
His kryptonite is also fighting in the UFC. That's just I don't know what it is about that dude, man. He was a beast before the UFC. He beasted his way through the Ultimate Fighter to the finale twice. Yeah. And he just can't put it together when it comes to being on stage on the big show. But what can you do, really?
Yeah.
But let's talk about the main course here. Let's start with the main course. We'll get to the appetizers, but main event, Dustin Poirier survives hellacious leg kicks that he's gonna feel for weeks to get the TKO in the fourth round over Justin Gaethje, who has now dropped 2 in a row. 2 in a row. His first 2 fights, both by TKO. And before we talk about how amazing the fight was, what are your thoughts on Gaethje? Just not like a Division I All-American wrestler gets rocked constantly and just refuses to even try to tie up, clinch, shoot for a takedown, grab legs, anything.
Yeah, I think that's it's a fight IQ flaw, I guess. It's just like he's a guy that's going to stand and bang. I'm going to stand and bang. And he's been rocked so many times and stood and taken shots and, shelled up and come back and boom, hurt the other guy and go back and forth. That's what he's done his entire career. In the WSOF, he fought some decent guys. Patricky, Pitbull, brothers. He fought both of them, I think. I can't think of all the guys he fought, but he's fought a handful of good guys. But he's messing around with the top 5 in the UFC's lightweight division. By far, probably the most stacked division in all of mixed martial arts. You go to Bellator, you go to WS or Professional Fighting League, UFC. That's probably the most stacked. And it's a different thing when you're getting rocked by the guys with the kind of accuracy and power like a Dustin Poirier. Also, I noticed what Poirier did is I think he took a page from Eddie Alvarez, and he worked the body real heavy, not as much as Alvarez did, but he was throwing some good, powerful hooks, just really sitting down and just turning them over real nice, and put a lot of work on that body. And I think that's the way you get to Gaethje, because then his guard goes from here, and he starts shelling down to protect the body, open for that uppercut, open for that hook. Good fight, man.
Yeah, it was a great fight, and for the longest time, it was going exactly like I thought. I knew Poirier was going to tag him in the head. It's what happens. But I knew Gaethje was going to chop those legs down, and I got to be honest. I mean, Dustin was on his way. He wasn't going to take very much more of those. He was going to drop, but he got the finish before that even came to fruition. So, congrats to him. After the fight, calls out Khabib.
I think that was the right call.
Of course. I mean, who else is there right now? Tony's injured. Connor's not coming back. Iaquinta's way back. Lee and Barbosa are fighting already. They're already scheduled to fight. Depending on how long it takes for Poirier's leg to heal, I think he might have to wait, though, for Ramadan, and by then I think Tony might be back, and I still believe you book that fight as many times as it takes.
Oh, you booked that fight 1,000,000 times. But, yeah, if Ramadan's out, maybe we're going to go back to Dan and Dan's like, look, man, you were the number 1 contender. You were out for a little while. We've got another number 1 contender in Dustin Poirier. Square off. Winner gets Khabib. It's Ramadan. We know he's not fighting. So you want a shot, you've got to do it again. which is very likely. That doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility, and that would be a fun fight. Though I would take Tony to win that fight
over the
Poirier.
champ. Oh, okay.
Over Poirier.
Oh, okay.
Or the champ. I've been on the fence. I've been calling. Look, dude, we're not going to get into too much. I've been on Team Ferguson since the get-go. I know a couple of episodes ago I was like, I'm kind of fence-walking now. I get Khabib. I'm kind of leaning, but I'm still Team Tony. But that's another conversation for the next Christmas to get pulled out from underneath of us.
Right. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I still think we need Poirier Alvarez to run it back. So that's a fight I'm looking forward to. I think
that's
especially
a good one.
Especially since now there's a story. You had the no contest from the previous fight, and then they're the first two and only two people to beat Justin Gaethje at this time.
Yeah.
So I think there's a story. You book that fight again. You run it back, see what happens.
Yeah, that's a good one to run back. I wouldn't have mind seeing that Poirier versus Alvarez too, but then he got Gaethje. Alvarez got Gaethje, and that was a good fight. And I like that. I like that, Sean Shelby.
In the co-main event, Alex Oliveira, Cowboy, the other Cowboy, steps in on short notice after Matt Brown got injured, which absolutely sucks. Second time that this fight got robbed from us.
Yeah.
And honestly does exactly what I thought he would do, and that's take down and submit Carlos Condit, who just shouldn't be fighting anymore. I mean, you can tell that he just is not into it.
Yeah, I don't like to tell people to retire. I don't like to do that. I'm not telling him to retire, but he should be able to beat Charles Oliveira every time. The old natural born killer would not get submitted like that. He's just not the same fighter. Things have changed for him a little bit. So I had I think second round TKO. I thought he would end up getting top position somewhere or something happened and he was going to ground him out. Not KO him, but ground him out a little bit. That obviously didn't happen, but yeah, Carlos, man, it's been a great run, dude. Love you, love your career, but I think it's time to hang up the gloves.
Yeah, and he's got a successful business outside of fighting, so this is really just a second source of income for him anyways.
Yeah. Anthony says something. His heart isn't really at the UFC since he's had 2 belts robbed from him. That's a possibility. That's why he kind of retired after the Maia fight last time. He said the same thing. He didn't quite have his gut there, and he was like, eh.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I'm on board with that. That's a good idea. That's a good point. So I can see that.
I think he still loves fighting. I think fighting is in him, but he's not going to be a perennial contender. He's not even going to be a gatekeeper at this point. He's just going to be, if they want to put him against top 10 to 15 guys, he can make those fights fun and be someone the top 10 to 15 get to play with on their way up. But he retired for a short period and then came back for the fight against the Gazelle there, and he looked apprehensive in pulling the trigger in that fight. And that's why I was worried what would happen with a guy like Oliveira who will get in your face and bang with you. But it's a sad note, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun fight while it lasted, but it's just, hey, congrats to Oliveira. He comes back from that fight of the year contender loss to
Yancy Medeiros.
Yeah, Medeiros. Thank you. I blanked for a second, and Yancy Medeiros gets right back on the winning track. In the middleweight division, hyped top prospect Israel Adesanya defeats Martin Vettori by split decision. Absolutely don't agree. I don't know how you
I don't agree with the split decision either.
I don't agree with it. But in my mind, this fight opened up my eyes to exactly what type of person beats Adesanya and how much he needs to work on his holes. He looked absolutely lost on the ground. I know it was stated by the broadcast team, but as soon as it was obvious, he was just absolutely lost on the ground. And I'm not sure if this is something that he can fix or shore up in a couple months' time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult. I think if you look at how easily he was taken to the ground, not easily, he had some good takedown defense, but once he was taken down to the ground, his ability to create scrambles to work his way back up was real lacking. We're talking like white belt level. It was. You had made a mention. I won't say what you had said, but you made a mention of somebody who was also on this card tonight. You think would destroy him.
Oh, I'll say it.
I think you're right. Yeah, I'll give you. I don't want to take your thunder, man. It was a really good point. I was like, wow, yeah, no shit. Obviously.
Yeah, Shoeface. Absolutely. Yeah. Antonio Carlos Jr. Shoeface would absolutely destroy him. He would take him down and tap him out in a heartbeat, in my opinion.
Yeah, eventually he's going to have to fight a Jacare. He's going to have to fight somebody with a ground game. And, look, I think the UFC puts these guys against too tough of contenders too soon. And they put him against Vettori, right? That's what he fought, Vettori. And Vittori's a tough kid who took a lot of shots, who hung in there, who was able to slip a couple of them and land a couple counters of his own and got the fight to the ground. But he is not a top 15 UFC fighter. He's not a top 10. He's not a top 5. You get guys with great grappling. He's got. I mean, he's gonna have to fight Yoel Romero if he wants to. Even if he worked his way up to a belt and with Whitaker right now, Whitaker's got decent wrestling. He could take him down and he'll ground and pound him out. So much like a Francis Ngannou, this is mixed martial arts. You need to be well-rounded. You can have your strength and your discipline, like Khabib, right? Strength in his wrestling and his sambo and his top control. But he does have enough striking to get in there and not get completely dominated by other strikers, plus the threat of a takedown and this, that, and the other. You need to be more well-rounded. His striking is fun and exciting. I love watching him. I just want to see him develop. First, he just needs to go back to the camp and just work nonstop on takedown defense and from his back against the cage. He was good out in the open where he could get a sprawl off and he could push his hips away. But he was lacking like little simple things. When Vettori had his back and had his hands grabbed, he wasn't pushing his hips away. He was leaving his hips in. He was trying to fight 2-1, but he wasn't pushing out, to create that space so he couldn't get under him. There's a handful of things that he was missing. No,
I completely agree. I'm not going to say like the shine's off him so much. He's still a top prospect. He's still somebody that you definitely bring up very slowly.
Very, very slowly.
Very slowly. But slowly. There's the people that are like ranked around him, include like Shoeface, who would be ranked around him right now. I think absolutely just destroy him. So at this point, at least at this point.
Yeah. I'm going to step away for 1 second. My recently potty trained toddler needs his help real quick. I apologize. I'll be right back.
Oh.
2 minutes.
Oh, look at that.
Sorry.
Okay, I guess somebody's just going to be daddy now. Go ahead. That's fine.
I know. What's going on here?
I know. Seriously. You think your kid's more important than this? What the hell's wrong with you? This is MMA to the max. You get your ass back here. No, anyways, I was just kidding. Hey, I'm going to move on without him while he does his thing. Daddy issues, I guess. Opening the main card on Fox, Michelle Waterson defeats Courtney Casey by a very, at least by some of the outrage on the internet, controversial decision. I didn't think it was that controversial in the sense that it could have gone either way. It just depends on how you scored it. I mean, you can score Courtney Casey's submission attempts, but I mean, do you not score Michelle Waterson's defense and top game on the same card? But it's just one of those instances. She gets back on the winning track after losing 2 in a row, and I don't know. Oh, he's back. Look at him. He's back. I was just talking about the Waterson and Casey decision. Very controversial according to the internet. I thought it could have gone either way. What was your take on it?
I was glad that Waterson got the decision, but I think that she got the decision because of uneducated judging. She was in trouble more often. Waterson was in trouble more often than Casey was. Casey was threatening with submissions, had her scrambling a couple times, had her worried about how she's going to get out of it. So again, just because you're on your back, in my mind, doesn't necessarily mean you're losing the fight. It was close, but it was tough for me to score it for anyone but Casey. But I could see why Waterson won, because she had top control. She had the takedown. She did okay, but she was being threatened every time she was on top.
Yeah, but I mean, she did land some ground and pound, especially in the first round at the end. She got on top and was landing some elbows. To me, it all depends on how you score it. I mean, Casey obviously was throwing the harder shots. Waterson was out wrestling and out grappling her aside from the submission attempts, but she was still escaping them and ending up on top and attacking before getting caught again. I mean, it's one of those instances. It all depends on how you score the fight.
Yeah, like what are you putting more weight on?
Exactly.
Right. What are you weighing more heavily? So, effective grappling. I guess they're both kind of effective, right? Mm-hmm. The attacking from the top position with ground and pound, and the attacking from the bottom with submission attempts. Okay, fairly even. So let's go to the stand up then. The stand up again was fairly even. More strikes, I believe, were landed by Watterson, but the more devastating or the harder shots were landed by Casey. It was a really close fight. It was a really, really good fight. I could see how it could be scored either way. But me, I found that Watterson was in trouble in the second and third round, close to being submitted. She did the right thing. I mean, talk about great jiu-jitsu, or good anti-jiu-jitsu, if you want to call it that, getting out of it, creating scrambles, getting back in top position. Yeah, it's not one of those like, man, the judges got it wrong. It was close, but got it wrong. It was close. I think it could easily have gone either way. I wouldn't have been mad. Other than I thought I had a good night of my picks last night. And that one was one that I had picked that way. So, yeah. What's up, Jason Stone?
Stone's up in the hirals. Yeah. No, it could have gone either way. Let's jump down to another.
Jump up and get down.
Another, I guess, very contentious decision in John Moraga defeating Wilson Hayes. I didn't think that it was contentious. A lot of people scored it for Hayes just because he had the takedowns that he did absolutely nothing with, while Moraga was just absolutely damaging him on the feet.
Yeah, Moraga used his distance management, as in staying away, right, staying on the outside, and picking Hayes up on the end of his punches and kicks and keeping distance. But when Hayes got inside, he was able to grapple, he was able to get him down, but wasn't able to do much. Moraga was able to create scrambles to get back up on his feet. Yeah, again, do you score a takedown the same as a knockdown? No. Moraga won that fight.
Yeah, I thought it was very clear that Moraga won that fight. Maybe in the older days where, if you take a guy down and hold him down and do nothing, you might get it. I mean, sure, Hayes had the back. He had choke submissions or submission attempts. He had control and back control and was going for the submission for about, I don't know, 45 seconds to a minute of the fight, of the round, but he was getting absolutely destroyed before that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure if you can give a minute and a half of control to a guy who just lost the other 3.5 minutes.
Yeah,
unless he dropped him.
Unless he dropped him, but yeah, he didn't. But it's also like, okay, what is more devastating? Picking someone apart with your jab, hitting him with a couple 1-2s, inside leg kicks, or getting your back taken? Getting your back taken is a little bit.
It's a dominant position.
It's a much more dominant position than, look, okay, it's kind of like we talked about with wrestling before, right? Hey, look, if you can't stop me from taking you down, then I'm going to take you down. Why are you going to stand back up, Mm-hmm. So if you can't take me down, if you can't get inside, I'm just going to poke you apart with my jab and land more punches, then why do I not deserve to win? So it's, again, how do you weight it? I would weight the back control of Wilson Hayes pretty high, but Moraga did more than just, stick and move. He outstruck him. He came in, he came out. I wanted Wilson to win.
Moraga looked really good.
The best he's looked in a long time.
Yeah, he looked
since his
really
last
good.
run.
I was
belt.
impressed, man. He was like a step ahead of Hayes the entire fight. It was absolutely ridiculous how good he looked. He was quick. His jab was on point. Everything. His combos. His anti-jiu-jitsu, as some people like to call it, was on point, man. Especially against somebody like Hayes. So
yeah, Moraga looked good of his own jiu-jitsu. He had his own attacks from sweeps and other things like that too. It was a good fight.
He almost had Hayes in that guillotine.
Yeah, exactly. He had it deep, but according to who was it, Dominic Cruz, Wilson was baiting him for that because he knew he would use that to get his takedown and step over control.
Let's talk about Dominic Cruz real quick. The commentary. I'm usually a fan of Dominic Cruz's commentary, but last night he was absolutely insufferable.
Well, how many Alliance fighters were on that card last night? Like 3 or 4?
Yeah,
I think that
man,
had something to do with it.
He was absolutely insufferable. I forget what fight was it? The Lauren Mueller and Shayna Dobson fight, where he kept talking about Dobson's throwing this amazing jab. She keeps peppering her with that jab, keeps throwing that jab and keeping her. Mueller was slipping the jab every time, and he was talking about this great jab that Dobson was throwing. Yeah, it was a nice jab and technique. But
it was a good jab.
Mueller was slipping it.
Yeah, she was slipping her, being just on the outside end of it and barely getting touched, rolling with it. Mueller deserved that decision. That was a great fight on her part. She totally won.
Yeah, she definitely won. But it just that's when I started listening to Cruz like, holy shit, dude. Like, were you trying not to be biased because Mueller, is from Alliance or trains with you and all that? But
maybe.
I don't know. He was insufferable last night. Just, honestly, just give me Rogan and DC. Obviously with Anik. But I mean,
you throwing Jimmy Smith out the window?
Well, no. I mean, I'm talking about fighters. Guest commentary for fighters.
Okay.
Give me DC. I think he's the best, most entertaining one because he does. He's entertaining as hell on the mic. I like Cruz's commentary style in the sense that he teaches more than excites you. But I love DC on the mic on the commentary. But absolutely, give me Rogan, Anik, and Smith if we're going to talk about of all time right there.
Yeah, I think as far as being an extra seed in the color, give me DC any day of the week. Paul Felder's good, but Paul Felder's a little too polished.
He's also a little too wooden.
Yeah, wooden's probably a better way to put it than polished. He's a little too wooden. I think Cruz is okay for the live event, but I want him behind the desk. I want him analyzing stuff. I would love to have him in between rounds, like breaking down, hey, this is what he did, this is the angle, because that is where he is.
Like kind of like an old school Eddie Bravo type scoring system situation.
Exactly.
I think the UFC should bring that back.
Yeah,
I really do. I think MMA as a whole should bring that back. Let's talk about real quick before, let's talk about the main event of the UFC on Fox prelims.
Yes.
The aforementioned Shoeface, Antonio Carlos Jr., former super heavyweight in grappling.
He was a big boy.
He's a very big boy, fighting at 185, notches his 5th win in a row, 3rd in a row by rear naked choke, 4 out of 5 rear naked choke. The only decision in that 5-fight win streak is Martin Vettori, who, as you saw in the Adesanya fight, is really tough to put away.
He's a really good fighter, yeah.
Yeah. He's just a tough dude. Does exactly what I thought he was going to do. Tim Bosch, entertaining. Something about him I just don't like as a fighter, but he still brings it when he can, just has no ground game. Shoeface outstruck him, took him down with a beautiful takedown, and gets the rear naked choke, man. 30 seconds left in the fight. It was absolutely dominant, and he's now 10-2 with 1 no contest. No contest. And I think he's finally realizing the potential everybody saw when he was on The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, I think he's finally realizing it, and what I want to touch on is how we were kind of talking about a little bit ago is people with, a real strong base in one thing, right? One second, buddy. Someone with a real strong base.
He wants to talk MMA.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. 1 second, buddy. So Shoeface has got his strength in jiu-jitsu, but he's becoming well-rounded. Someone like a Damian Maia who has great strength in jiu-jitsu, one of the best jiu-jitsu guys out there, has 1 takedown, that single leg. Defend a single leg, you don't get taken down, you beat Maia. Shoeface has multiple different takedowns, from body locks to singles to trips to throws, and his striking as he enters himself in there is even better. Yeah, that's what I think. Sorry.
Jeez, kids bored with his games already, apparently.
Yeah, he needs to get the new God of War, and I think that'll keep my 3-year-old occupied a little longer. Oh, it's meant for 3-year-olds, right?
That comes out right before my vacation. Anyways, yeah, no, I agree. I think Shoeface is starting to really put it together. He's so well rounded. His striking is coming along very, very nicely, and I think he's going to cause some damage. I think he's somebody people need to watch out for. I think he's somebody that is going to start moving up in the ranks, and quickly. So,
because again, he's smart. It looks like he's been working on his striking, putting his striking together, and in doing so, the threat of the takedown is there. They forget about it. They get caught up in throwing punches. They throw a heavy hand. He's decent enough at staying outside, grabbing a single, shooting for a power double, or whatever he's got to do to get the fight to the ground. you got to work on the areas you're not good. Keep working on where you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
His stand-up is looking better, and that's allowing him to get better entries and better takedowns where he's better than most everybody, which is his jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, world class, absolutely world class. Obviously, if anybody's seen his resume, they know that for a fact.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, he's got the grappling pedigree to do it, my man.
So let's talk about Brad Tavares. They call it a TKO. I think Krzysztof Jotko was knocked out from the initial punch, the initial hook that he landed on him. But he still managed to come through just in time to get pounded on, and give Brad Tavares his first stoppage in years.
Yeah, literally, he's got 11 wins in the UFC, and 10 of them are by decision. Now he's got 12 in the UFC, and 10 of them by decision.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. When we were talking about this fight, when I was watching this fight and participating in some live fight threads, I was telling everybody, well, this is about to be a Tavares boring decision, because that's what he's known for. He just doesn't have the power to threaten a stoppage. But come the third round, apparently he just put me in my place.
Yeah, no, he knew what he was doing, man. He did a good job of putting him away. His striking has always been good. He's like a good boxer and a point boxer is how he wins his decisions. But he man, I was really high on Jotko. I liked him for a while. You know what I mean? But he's fallen his last 3 fights now in a row. I don't know. He's got to do something different. He's got to put something together. It's just not working right now.
No, I agree. I agree completely. Yeah, as a whole, how would you? I know the bonuses went out to Oliveira, Adam. I am not even going to try to say his name, like Weisharek, something like that. I should have paid attention more. That's my bad.
Yeah, you were pissed off at
dude.
I want to say DC, not DC. Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, and fight of the night went to Poirier Gaethje, as it should have. But I mean, before that, Waterson Casey was my fight of the night, and before that, you had Matthew Lopez and Alejandro Perez that they put on a barn burner for 2 rounds. It was absolutely amazing.
Fun fight.
Matthew Lopez almost had that finish in the first round, and Perez comes back, luckily for me, and gets the finish. I want to talk about that real quick, man. I know we haven't talked about the pick'em thing for a long time, but I do have to let this be a lesson to everybody out there. Anybody that's watching, anybody that's going to watch, anybody that's listening, any of that. Let this be a lesson to you. The perfect game curse is real. Do not talk about the perfect game. Any baseball fans out there will know that if somebody is on their way to a perfect game, you don't mention perfect game.
No, never.
I knew that.
Bad idea.
I thought about it. I said, don't do it. I did it.
But did you? Did you do it, buddy?
I talked about the perfect game. I right before the main event, I started talking about it. I was like, I am 13-0. I had 8 perfect picks. So out of 13 fights so far, I had 8 picked correctly, 100%. And I was so confident in Gaethje chopping down those legs and doing his thing, I started talking about the perfect game.
Jackass.
Yeah, exactly. What happened? I lost it. 13-1. Don't talk about the perfect game. If you haven't learned that from baseball, learn it from me.
Well, I never talk about it. I never even talk about a good night. So what the hell's happening to me here? Maybe I should talk about it, have a reverse jinx for me, because Jesus, it just ain't cutting it from my abilities, man.
Man, I can't believe I got screwed. Like, I didn't get screwed, obviously. I mean, it's just a fight, but I fucked myself.
Gaethje let you down, man. Gaethje let you down.
Yep, and I will never root for Gaethje or Poirier again because they ruined my perfect. I've had one perfect.
They did it. They did it to you. Yeah, damn that Poirier didn't want to lose a fight, wants to get a belt and become a millionaire. Poor guy. What a jerk.
I know. Fuck Poirier. Fucking asshole.
I've always been a fan of his, man, and he's really getting better. He's always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Kind of like to see him get that shot at a belt. You know, that would be fun. But I don't know. It was a good fight, man. That's 3 fights in the UFC for Justin Gaethje. 3 fight of the nights for Justin Gaethje. 3 go down as fight of the year possible candidates for Justin Gaethje.
Oh yeah, that's good. Justin Gaethje. He's the highlight.
He is the human highlight.
I feel bad. I mean, Khabib said it best, man. He's like a great fighter, just needs to use wrestling more, and he absolutely does. He can still his style. He can still be entertaining while using his wrestling. He can still he can still be entertaining.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because think about it. If he added that threat of a takedown into his arsenal, that's going to open up the openings for his hands.
Yeah, once people start seeing like, oh shit, he's taking me down now. It's like, yeah, use it. Get them to shell up and shoot in for the double. I mean, he could turn the corner on any guy. He can get his arms wrapped around somebody and take him down. He's a great collegiate wrestler. Yeah,
he's forgetting 50% of the game out there. He's just negating it. I'm just going to stand and bang. Why not take someone down and bang and beat him up a little bit? Get your head cleared a little bit, because he doesn't always get wobbled, but he gets rocked a little bit. Take him down, clear your head, get back up, beat him up again.
Yeah, if he would have done that, in the 4th round when he's getting finished, when he's on his way to getting finished, he might have had a chance to survive and maybe kept going to win the fight.
Possibly.
Yeah, it's possible. But before we move on to UFC Fight Night preview for next week, you asked me if I watched Bellator. I didn't quite watch Bellator. I didn't get all of it, but I did see most of it. So that's hey, for all transparency here, people, I saw what I needed to see for it. Unfortunately, my schedule doesn't allow me to watch as much as I want to nowadays. But Michael Chandler defeats Brent Primus. Just kidding. Primus pulled out.
I wish.
Yeah, right.
I wish that fight was going to happen again.
Yeah. He basically dominates Brandon Gertz and gets the finish. Gertz went out completely cold from the head and arm triangle. What do you think about Chandler's performance, and does this excite you more for his rematch with Brent Primus, or just you're still the same?
No, I'm excited to see that, because I believe he was going to beat Primus the first time they fought until whatever happened to his ankle. But I think Big John pointed it out during that fight. Like, he stepped out and he rolled on that ankle again. It's like, I wonder if he's still not completely got that ankle all the way back, because he seemed to roll over it on again and it seemed a little tender.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, if I'm Primus, whatever the fuck his name is, I'm going to target that left calf. I'm going to left calf kick him all day long. All day long. That's all I'm going to do. Because that's his power for his takedown, too, is he's shooting off that front left foot. You know, that's where he's getting his power for his punches. Just I'm going to beat that thing up. And I have a feeling if he does that, which he should, he might keep his belt.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, at least it would be a legit way to win, unlike last time. But
yeah, last time I don't even know if it was a calf kick or what it was, but something jacked up his ankle. He rolled on it again, did something, but it was looking as limp and nasty as Varner's last fight in the UFC.
I was going to say, as limp as nasty what your wife sees every night.
It's not long enough to really call it limp. You know. There's length issues that don't allow that to be the actual term.
What do you think about AJ McKee's walkout? I don't know if the Friday the 13th he wore the Jason Voorhees mask.
It was Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
it was interesting, man.
Yeah, that guy, how topical of him, right? Mm-hmm. I wish I would have had time off to be able to play the Friday the 13th game on Friday the 13th. But yeah, AJ McKee is just so much better than his father, and that's no disrespect to his father, but AJ McKee is a star, man, and they really need to put him and James Gallagher together. They really need to put that fight together. Stop talking about it. Just do it.
That's Bellator's MO. They talk about these fights happening, and they never do. How many times we heard that daily MVP was going to happen, and it's never happened.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Which is good, though, because we're talking about it. We don't talk a lot about Bellator, but it's something we're talking about and excited about, so that they're doing their job in that aspect. But they have to deliver, you know. You can't always be sitting there talking about how you're going to take care of us in a certain way and then never do. Then we just stop believing you will.
I agree. I think they need to learn from the UFC's past mistakes of, don't wait too long. Strike while the iron is hot. We lost the GSP Anderson Silva super fight because they waited too fucking long. So
GSP also said he was never going to fight at middleweight, and Anderson was too big to go down to welterweight.
They could have met a catch weight of like 180. I mean, it's possible they could have done it.
Maybe 180. They could have done something like that, or this was also pre-money fight days where they were really dropping money to get people to fight, and which seems like what they're doing now. Because hopefully Iaquinta got paid a shit ton of money to take that fight.
You'd have to pay me $1 million to fight Khabib. Yep. Did you see what he did to Barbosa? Fuck that.
Yeah. No shit, dude.
No shit. So let's move on real quick. We're not going to make this a super dragged out, super long episode for everybody. Let's talk what we need to talk. But next week,
another good card.
Another really stacked card, in my opinion. Absolutely stacked in terms of talent and excitement.
Yeah.
So yeah, next week for everybody, that I believe it's on Fox Sports 1. I'm almost positive.
Pretty sure it's a Fox Sports 1 fight.
It is FS1. Edson Barbosa, fresh off of his mauling of by the current champ Khabib Nurmagomedov, taking on Kevin Lee, fresh off of his interim championship title fight loss to Tony Ferguson.
So, I thought you were going to say the staph infection.
Yeah,
thought you weren't going to give Tony his credit.
Well, I mean, the staph infection had to have held it. I'm not a Tony hater, man, but the staph. I mean, he dominated Tony before gassing out.
Maybe that was a game plan, bro. Hey, let's let this guy come in here. He fires off hard. I'm Tony.
We talked about that when we reviewed that show. We already talked about that. But this is
if you'd like to hear more about that fight, please go back to
whatever episode that fucking was, because I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, main event, Barbosa versus Lee. Absolutely phenomenal main event. Phenomenal matchmaking.
Yes.
I'm 100% in the corner of Kevin Lee on this fight.
Yeah, so am I. Kevin Lee's a great wrestler, but the sad thing is against a guy like Khabib, it looked like Barbosa doesn't have takedown defense, but he does. He's got really good takedown defense. Really good takedown defense. Training with guys like Frankie Edgar every day. You get good at it. You can't help that. But I think Kevin Lee is the younger, fresher. His momentum, other than the loss against Ferguson, is moving up, and Barbosa is a bit more of a roller coaster. I see this fight going to the ground and Barbosa getting submitted. Yeah,
I think Lee's going to press the pace a little more than Khabib. I think Khabib just wanted to maul him. He wasn't really going for submissions. I think he had a ton of opportunities, but I think Lee, especially with being a 5-round fight, I think Lee has cardio. The Ferguson fight notwithstanding. And I do think that Lee's going to pressure the hell out of him, because that's how you beat Barbosa, is pressure. And yeah, Lee, I agree with Lee getting the takedown and the submission. I'm calling a rear naked choke, I think, in the 4th round.
Wow, you're calling it exactly.
I am calling it exactly, and that's going to be my pick.
Yeah,
on the UFC pick'em. Just so everybody that is in the fantasy league, that is my pick. Lee, 4th round submission, but even more than that, rear naked choke.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Frankie Edgar. Speaking of Edgar.
Speaking of.
Quick turnaround to take a rematch with Cub Swanson. I mean, he just got knocked out by Brian Ortega, and he's making a quick turnaround. Obviously, Swanson's somebody that he's already defeated very handedly, but he's still a power puncher, man. And is Edgar recovered enough?
That's what I'm concerned about, because he's going to get peppered with volume from a guy like Swanson. So who knows what his head can take? You know what I mean?
I agree, man. I agree. I'm still gonna pick Frankie, because unless it's extreme circumstances, you just don't pick against Frankie Edgar.
Unless he's fighting
unless he's fighting an up and coming top prospect, apparently. But Cub Swanson,
does he do it like that, or does he do it? I don't know. I'm not good at gang signs. It's not really my forte.
That is not Cub Swanson, though. Cub Swanson, to me, I like Cub Swanson a lot. I'm a big fan of his, but he's past his prime. And
correct.
He's not an up-and-coming guy, and I think Edgar still manhandles him, and especially with 3 rounds. I think I mean, he finished.
Frankie takes him down and smashes him for 3 rounds. I'm going to agree with you. And I'm a big Cubby fan. Love that guy. Since the WEC days, I don't know if you ever mentioned that we're big fans of the WEC or not. But yeah, he is a fun fighter, good fighter. A lot of volume, not a ton of power, a lot of volume, and gets you with punches and bunches. But that does worry me because he's pretty accurate. And if Frankie is still concussed and he's a little bit lighter on his feet than he needs to be, so to speak, he could get hurt.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. Also on the main card in bantamweight action, Aljamain Sterling, fresh off of his knockout loss to Marlon Moraes. Yeah, we all remember when he got knocked out, he went down dabbing. It was pretty hilarious, and Sterling had a nice sense of humor about everything.
Yeah, he did.
He is trying to stop the momentum of another top prospect here in Brett Johns, fresh off of his calf slicer submission victory over Joe Soto.
Oh, so pretty.
It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And it was quick, too. It was like 30 seconds, if that.
What I like about this is they're both pretty well-rounded fighters. Aljo's got really good, really fun jiu-jitsu. A lot of scrambles, a lot of capitalizing in transitions. He's got good wrestling for the takedowns. Brett Johns is just all around well-rounded. He's got good hands. He's got good movement. Obviously going for a calf slicer against a guy like Joe Soto so quickly shows that he's well-versed in his jiu-jitsu. It's going to be a fun fight. It looks like people are picking Sterling. I'm taking Roberts via decision.
Roberts? You mean Johns?
Sorry, Brett Johns.
Are you looking at a different fight right now?
Yeah. I looked at something else and that threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, it's all right.
But,
Brett Johns, I think I'm absolutely taking Brett Johns. I think he's like the biggest hope for the Welsh to have a champion. And especially
the only hope right now.
Yeah, he's the great Welsh hope. Yeah, I'm taking Brett Johns. I don't know. I don't think he's going to finish Sterling, but I think he's going to do enough to get a decision.
I think so too. I think they're going to get in exchanges. I think Brett is going to be comfortable fighting wherever Aljo wants it to go, and he's going to show that he's that much better. He's going to be a step ahead of him. So if Aljo's keeping it on the feet, then he's going to stay on the feet and he'll piece him up. If Aljo goes for a takedown, he'll do his counter, his wrestling, his counter jiu-jitsu, whatever, and show that he's one step above Aljo. But it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. I don't see it being a boring fight.
Yeah, it's going to be entertaining as hell. Real quick though, on the preliminary card on UFC Fight Pass, I want to talk about this. Ricky Simon is making his UFC debut. For anybody that doesn't know, Ricky Simon is, well, I guess now would be the former lightweight champion of the LFA, Legacy Fighting Alliance. Mm-hmm. He won his last fight in March 23rd, at LFA 36. I think it was actually at Morongo, which is right around the corner.
Morongo.
Yeah, right around the corner. Well, not around the corner, but local in a sense. Good for him. Happy for him. What the fuck? Why haven't they signed Shorty?
He makes a good point. Shorty is a 25, 30, really he's a 25er. Yeah. And they don't have a lot of interest in it, which is stupid because he is one of the greatest fighters out there and he's not getting his due. Not just because he's been on our show, but we were fans of Shorty's before he ever got on the show, before we ever had the show,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's just disappointing when you see that kind of stuff. Again, Ricky Simon's hats off to him. He's earned it. He's done a good job to get his shot, but it should be a good fight, which I have him stopping Davashli or Murbab, whatever the frick his name is.
I think it's Murav Davashli. I can't remember, but I don't know. I don't know if he stopped. I think it's a great fight. I think it's a fight they might want to think about moving up to the FS1 show because I think it's going to be a contender for fight of the night, in my opinion.
It should be. It'll be a good one. But, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
You look like you, I know you got daddy issues that you got to deal with.
I'm good.
You're good now?
Good, buddy.
You good now? You good now?
Yes. Yeah. Dude, I want to go back to the beginning of the podcast, man. This Elysian Space Dust is a fine IPA. You must get yourself some.
Is it
Broken
is
delicious.
Skull IPA fine or?
It's up there. It's definitely up there with the better IPAs. It's really good.
I find Broken Skull to be the best IPA on the market, in my opinion. Is it better than the Piney the Elder you had?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit better than Piney the Elder. It's a good one. My two favorites right now are going to be the Stone Brewing Company Ruination 2.0. That one is that one's it's a full bodied beer, but you could drink it. Unfortunately, you can drink that one. And then the Green Flash Imperial IPA. But I know they were recently bought out by one of the larger brewers, so I don't know what that's going to do. Hopefully, it doesn't change any other sourcing.
You are a slave to your habits. You will never
IPAs.
give up on. I know, but you will never give up on your Stone or the same brands, same companies you've been drinking for years.
No, I mean, I was
you have to try
Nevada Pale Ale guy for a long time.
You have to try the Garage Brewing Company's Hatch IPA, Hatch Chili IPA. You have to try it.
I'll give it a shot, man.
You should.
Not gonna hurt.
It's got a little bit of a kick. It will.
As long as it's not clown shoes.
That was the worst. That was absolutely worst. Best thing I've ever done with that is just pour it out.
Pour it out. I can't believe you poured out the whole thing.
Yeah, it was like a $10 bottle, and it's just like, nope, gone, out, gone.
We want to spend a minute. If there's any more fan questions, we can answer real quick from the get-go from Marcy Franklin. Off topic, but Megan Anderson has a fight. Thoughts?
Megan Anderson is scheduled to fight Holly Holm in featherweight action, which is surprising in my mind because I thought they were, obviously they were talking about Megan Anderson fighting Cyborg, and because they can't find anybody to fight Cyborg for the most part.
Yeah.
I
like it or not?
I like it because it actually sets a number one contender fight for Cyborg. I mean, Holly Holm did very well against Cyborg. She did
the best anyone's ever done in MMA against her.
But let's not joke around here or fuck around. Cyborg clearly won the fight, but
hands down.
Yeah, hands down. I like the fight, but at the same time I don't because Megan's gonna lose.
Yes.
I think Holly Holm's going to box her up. I really do. And I'm a big fan of Megan, and I hate to say that. But this is not a good fight for her. This is a bad fight for Megan to take. And I mean, it's going to set up Holm versus Cyborg too. So
that's what it is going to do. But what I like about it is it's actually a fight at featherweight, the women's featherweight division, that's not Cyborg defending a belt.
That is a very good point. Because, honestly, I still want... I know they scheduled the fight of a Nunes versus Pennington for the title. I completely disagree with doing that. I wanted Cyborg and Nunes.
Well, yeah, because finally Cyborg's going to face someone who hits as hard as she does.
Exactly.
And can slide and actually slide with and roll with the punches and come back with really good counters in Nunes. I don't know why they did that. I mean, there was some talk there at the beginning of the year of like all these champ versus champ fights being set up, and then they're only doing the one, which is fine. I'm happy with that. But it's like, why wouldn't you do that fight? Because there's nothing against Pennington, but I don't think she wins this fight. I don't think she makes it out of the third round.
I'm not even sure she makes it out of the first round, to be honest. I mean, maybe if she hadn't been out for over 2 years. I think it's been about 2 years.
It's
from the car accident. It's been
days. Yeah,
I think her last fight was the Misha Tate fight, which was the first, which is UFC 205.
Yeah, something like that, way back when.
Yeah, it was the first event in New York. She lost on the preliminary card on the Fox Sports 1 cards.
Yep.
When Conor won his double titles. That's the last time Pennington fought. When Conor defeated Eddie Alvarez.
The last time Conor McGregor fought in the UFC was the last time Pennington fought in the UFC.
So, hey, well, Pennington's got something up on him.
Yeah, she does. She's going to fight sooner, and she's not throwing hand trucks through, or hand dollies, whatever you want to call them, through freaking bus windows either.
Jesus, I can't believe that, man. I still can't believe that. By the way, everybody, for anybody that doesn't know, hey, just saw this right now, 30 minutes a day. Professional Fighters League is launching True Sport format. Basically, Professional Fighters League is launching officially tomorrow, according to this press release I just saw.
Oh, it's the official, huh?
Yeah, it's something about it. I'm looking it up, man. But yeah, congratulations to them. OSP got a fight booked against Tyson Pedro for Singapore.
OSP wins that fight.
Unless Pedro cracks him, as we saw with Lear Latifi.
Yeah, I knew Latifi was a little shop worn there, but I don't know, man. OSP is so up and down. He's fun to watch. I think he gets guys who don't have a big name yet, and he usually deals with them pretty well. But after that, he falls off the radar.
Well, let's throw some controversy in this episode real quick. We haven't really gone quite long enough, so let's throw some controversy up in here real quick. Tyron Woodley, welterweight champion. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. If you read the news, he was asked about Conor McGregor and his antics. This was his quote: "Nobody else, black, white, green, purple. I don't care who you are. If you're not Conor McGregor and you did that, you're getting the pink slip." Agree or disagree?
Oh, well, gee, I don't know. The UFC has shown leniency towards people when they do stuff that they don't like, that are just regular average fighters or maybe even top 10 fighters. I mean, look at what they did to Paul Daly. They were very understanding of him and his emotions. Jason Hyde,
well,
they're like, hey, guys.
Illegal, though. That was completely illegal and
I completely get it.
Sanctioned, yeah.
No, he's 100% right. I don't like to agree with T. Wood. I think he's always been a fun foil of mine, even though he doesn't realize it yet. I like to call him the most boring fighter in the UFC and say he's inactive, but the reality, none of those things are really true. Just his last few fights have been boring. I agree with him. Anybody else would be. Think about it, man. Just think about if I don't know. I'm just trying to think of somebody who's got a decent hype to him. Shoeface did that, right? A great fighter, been around. He got mad and he threw a dolly through a window. He'd get his walking papers.
Oh, absolutely agree. Absolutely.
Other champs. If I don't know, let's say that I don't know, not Khabib maybe, but DC. I can't picture anybody. I can't picture anybody else being that fucking stupid. The thing,
yeah, but just the idea that I mean, what Woodley's saying is like, because Woodley speaks on topics and people say that's race. He's racist. Because Woodley's always like, I think it's a race thing. They promote these blonde-haired, blue-eyed guys more than they promote people of color. I don't think it's intentional, but I kind of agree with that statement that he's doing because they've been prone to promoting the wrong people. I mean, Francis Ngannou aside. But for the most part, I mean, they barely promoted Anderson Silva. Like, he's the greatest of all time, but they barely promoted him. But they promoted the shit out of GSP. But I don't think it's intentional. I could see his point. But he does make a great point here where he says, if there's anybody but Conor, you'd be fucking fired.
No, he's 100% right. Keith makes the point here that he thinks a guy like GSP could be Brock Lesnar. Okay, but I still think that's more to the point that he was making. You've got to be this blue chip megastar person that brings in lots and lots of money, and you can get away with anything. It's money makes rules. The more money you got, the more you can do, right? The more you can get away with.
Yeah, but more money, more problems too. So,
you tell him, P. Diddy.
So apparently my comments are like lacking on the stream thing. So I'm going to have to go to our page, our actual view, to actually see them. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, that's the way I do it because it comes up way quicker that way.
But Keith Schillen said I was kicked out of our Pick'em League because of I absolutely crushed it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. GSP doesn't get. He disagrees. GSP doesn't get the boot. Khabib and Brock don't either. It's tough, man. It's tough. I can see that. Yeah, Khabib and Brock don't. I mean, it all depends on the star power, I guess. So yeah, if you're a big star, you don't get the boot. But I still think that any other employer, you absolutely do get the boot. But yeah, you make a good point, Keith. I will rescind that statement of agreeing with Woodley on that point.
Yeah.
Of the color situation. I completely agree with you on that one.
Yeah, no, that's just the point is.
Yeah.
They could give Conor the boot, not that Bellator could afford him, but he could become his own promoter, or if Bellator could afford him. So they're just giving millions of dollars to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's why they wouldn't do it. Yeah, and then you get back to the same point with Rousey. I think that T Wood was saying anybody other than Conor, but I think he was being okay. Those who are active fighters now, so you can take GSP, Brock Lesnar out of the picture. Khabib out, he would be the only one who's active right now. Of these megastars who would either give somebody else or themselves millions and millions of dollars, you can get away with it. If you're just a regular top 10 fighter, then you're getting the boot. You're done. And I don't think Conor should get the boot.
Yeah, Keith says Ronda Rousey wouldn't get booted either. And you know what? Okay, so he's absolutely right. I think what the thing is I think Tyron might have said that about the color thing, that to try to get people to try to be like, no, this isn't me trying to be racist. I don't care what color you are. If you're, but at the same time, what Keith's saying is absolutely, yeah, these people wouldn't get booted. So, hey, I rescind my statement, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. It just depends on your star level. While I disagree with that, I think that those type of antics, you should be setting an example as a promotion company. Yeah, I rescind my statements. So
yeah, no, that's what T Wood was saying. That's why he brought race into it, just to let everyone know that hey, look, it's not about race. Yeah. That's all.
And Jeremiah Deskins of the Great Hardcore MMA Show. Everybody, if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Says if Woodley would have thrown a dolly through a bus window full of professional athletes, he would be arrested on the spot. No, he probably would be shot. And
yeah, I don't know. We can get into this whole
speaking of getting
race
the boot,
topic and race war and all that stuff.
Speaking of the boot, did I mention you were booted out of the fantasy league? Why? Because I did so well.
I don't think T Wood would have ever had the chance to actually release the dolly. I think he would have just danced around holding the dolly, maintaining distance, and was back up against the cage. That's what T Wood would have done. He never would have thrown it.
Yeah, he would have held it and just stood there while the bus kind of like kept going forward and backing up.
That's right. He'd keep his distance and he'd keep his back to the whatever wall or fence was around, and that's how he'd handle it. Not striking. The bus didn't move forward, he wouldn't counter.
Ooh, that's a burn against T Wood there.
I don't know. I really do like T Wood and I respect him, but I just love to break his balls unbeknownst to him.
By the way, that is water now. I do have a job I have to prepare for tomorrow. So I enjoyed my beer while I drank it, but I'm not an alcoholic.
Yeah. You should try it sometimes. You can alleviate yourself of a lot of responsibility. It works.
Yeah. I try to alleviate all the responsibility as much as possible. Unfortunately, yes, I still have to do it.
Yeah, I feel you, buddy. Well,
on that note, I mean, it's been about an hour, a little over an hour. Anyways, Joe, I think we've covered everything we need to cover.
These new shirts we're wearing.
Oh yeah.
If anybody's interested in them, it would be great if they could
let us
drop
know.
us a line here. Yeah, let us know.
Joe, do you think you get the back in the camera if you stood up? You're in a little more accessible area than I am.
Oh yeah, let me try to move this a little bit here.
You know what? They're shirts. We made them for ourselves. We'd love if people would buy them and wear them to support and get the name out there for the show. If you don't, that's fine. But it's pretty cool. I mean, It basically, as you can see right there, you got the MMA Max logo with the Facebook link right there, facebook.com/MMA The Max. And when he turns around and bends down a little bit, perfect. Mischief, Mayhem, Alcohol, MMA right down the left side of the shirt. That was purposely done. And yes, it was purposely lifted from Fight Club's Mischief, Mayhem Soap tagline. So, I will not apologize for ripping off Fight Club on that one.
Your obvious thievery.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly. If you want to support us and buy it, that's fine. If you don't want to buy it and support us still by watching the show or sharing whatever, that's fine. But you know what? We made them. We're gonna get We're gonna get more made for anybody that wants them. Let us know. We'll get you prices. It's not going to be very expensive. But
no.
Anyways, I think we're done here. Joe?
I think so.
Social media.
If you'd like to get a hold of me on Twitter, it is JoeHud45 on Twitter. JoeHud45 on Twitter. And Instagram, you can get a hold of me at MMA to the Max Joe. And as always, the 2 is the number 2.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking. Just checking.
Yep. It is the number 2. MMA to the max.
To the max. Like Ghostbusters 2 with yeah. Anyways. Yeah. If you want to find me on Twitter, it's at itsrockrobster. Find me on Instagram at MMA to the max Rob. As always, find us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/MMA to the max podcast. Find the show on Twitter, as you can see on the screen, at MMA to the max show. We'll always be talking about the shows, tweeting about what have you, whatever we got to do. I don't know. I've been pretty lazy lately. That's on me. I've been working a lot of hours. As always, find our show at w2mnet.com. That is w2mnet.com for all of your sports, wrestling, movies, and entertainment needs. Check out all these great groups that we support and we share and listen to. Check out MMATakeover.com. Check out MMA Freaks group. MMA Takeover also has its own group. Check out the Hardcore MMA show and the Hardcore MMA group. Check out craftbrewedsports.com and the Craft Brewed Sports group. That is a great show as well. I want to thank the Loaded Joe's MMA podcast and the Loaded Joe's MMA podcast group, specifically Blake Stevenson, for everything he's done. I will say that on every episode. He's helped that show out a lot. Anyways, yeah, as always, I think we're done. So,
yes, sir.
Well, by the way, I'll be in Disneyland next week for the fights, like while the fights are going on for the weekend. So I won't watch them until I get back. I'll be on vacation, though, so we'll be recording Monday night.
Boom.
Monday evening. Check it out, everybody. I don't know what day that is. What is it, 14th? Tomorrow's the 15th. So
16th.
22nd, right?
There you go. Good math.
22nd, Monday the 22nd. Anyways, that's it. Hey.
No, it's 23rd.
Is it? Okay, whatever. Well, this has been MMA to the Max. For my co-host, Joe Hudson, I am Robert Taylor. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
W2mnet.com production. For more great content like this, go to W2mnet.com for the worlds of wrestling, video games, entertainment, and sports.